I want to tell you, it's hard. It's not easy. I've been battling, to be totally transparent with you. So don't feel like you're alone. I think one of the one of the worst things in isolation is to feel like you're alone, and to feel like you're going through this. Just know that it doesn't really make it better, but other people are dealing with this too. I'm dealing with this. Like, I've been feeling kind of off. Like, why am I feeling like this, or why am I reacting like this? And so I just had to get more emotionally aware of myself. I had to face the truth. I had to have conversations. I didn't want to bottle things in, because so many times we bottle stuff in and we don't really deal with it. So having an outlet is very necessary and important. But I want to tell you, just because you're going through something doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. This is hard. I mean, people's lives are being changed. You know, people are being fired. Things are being, you know, businesses are changing. My life has changed, you know, different things. But again, I will say this, and this is, you know, not to be insensitive to anybody's struggle, but you have a choice in this. And I know the choice is hard, but you have a choice. Either you can, like, it's going to be two types of people. It's going to be a person that allows this situation to break them forever. And listen, rightfully so, because it's hard. I'm not saying that, you know, you got to be some superhuman. I get it. It's tough, but there are going to be two types of people. People that are going to lose things and end up losing themselves. Then there's going to be people who lose things but end up finding themselves even more. And you have to make that decision in this moment. You have to say, you know what? I'm going to go through a terrible time. Like, it's going to be different, but also I'm in control of the meanings. Does it have to be a terrible time? Does it have to be me telling myself that my life is over because I'm losing certain things? I just refuse to program my life. I refuse to program my life with things that set my life back. I refuse to program my life with depression, with failure. I just refuse, even if it's, I got to fake it till I make it in that aspect. I just choose to see the light. I choose to be the light if I got to be it. And so you have to ask yourself in this moment, okay, what's going to be built? Because when you find meaning in the moment, man, I'm already going in. And this ain't even about how to move on. But when you find meaning in the moment, when you find meaning in the struggle, when you find meaning in your life, whatever that meaning is, don't let me tell you what it is. When you find meaning, then you're able to live your life in a more powerful way. Meaning is attached to a lot of things in life that we care about, because it's a strong meaning. The reason why I've been able to do this for 10 years of rehab time and continues to just show up, because the meaning that I have attached to it. So think about the meaning. What is this going to mean to you? You have a choice. You can rise, you can fall, you can sink, or you can swim. But I know everybody in this live, because you are a rehabber and you go hard, you're going to find the strength to swim. And that's what I want you to do. Okay, as we move on, okay, transitioning. Deep breath. I get so passionate and fired up, man. I'm such an introverted person. I just talked about this on this call. Like, they're like, how are you so introverted, but you're so passionate? Because when I talk about things that matter to me, this comes out. And so I got this question a lot. How do I move on? Now, this is a long conversation, guys. This is not like, okay, if I do this and this and this, I'm done with it. But I just want to share from experience, okay? And this doesn't mean relationships, by the way. This can mean relationships. This can mean from your job. It can mean from a lot of things in life, right? How do I move on? Well, I want to break it down into 3 A's. And I'm going to talk about this on my podcast this week, and I'm probably in more in-depth way. So the first thing when it comes to moving on is, number one, the first A is awareness. A lot of times we're not even aware that we need to move on. We're not even aware of our emotions. We're not aware of, you know, the situations that we're in a lot of times, right? We're not aware that maybe this person or situation has a strong hold over us. We're not aware. So it's about having awareness. And I think the thing about having awareness is understanding your standards, understanding what you want out of life, understanding the definition that you set for your life. You have to be aware in that situation about what is going on. Because when you're not aware, then things can control your life. People can do what they want. People can manipulate you. People can change you, right? You can be led down a path that wasn't even meant for your life, but you're not aware that you're even going down this path. So awareness is key. Okay, that's number one, awareness. The second thing is, after awareness, let me take a deep breath, man, because I'm so passionate right now. After awareness is acceptance, okay? A lot of people struggle with this, because it's hard to accept something is over. With me with football, I didn't want to accept that it was over, because I felt like if I accepted that it was over, then my life was over. How many of us drop some hearts and lights that you feel that, right? If you accept that this relationship is over, or this job is over, or whatever it is for you, you feel like, okay, I lost. You feel like, okay, I failed. You feel like, okay, life is never going to be the same. And I hear that a lot. Your life is never going to be the same. Even in this quarantine moment, your life is not going to be the same. Okay, it's not, but that's a good thing, right? Become better. I don't want my life to be the same. I don't want to be the same Trent I was 2 months ago. I don't. I don't want to be the same Trent I was before the NFL when I got out. I don't want to be the same Trent I was before a past relationship that failed, or past friendship. I don't want to be the same. So yes, you're right. Nothing is going to be the same, but don't have that be a negative. Have that be a positive, right? Some of us are scared to accept it because a lot of times our identity is tied to it. What do I mean by that? Our worth, our significance, we're tied to that thing. We're tied to that person. So we feel like without it, my situation, football, without it, without that identity, who am I? Oh, I'm a nobody. Oh, I'm not good anymore. Oh, people aren't going to like me anymore. So I need to hold on to this, even though I know me holding on to it is killing me. Even though I know me holding on to it is depressing me. Because listen, you will never get what your life deserves if you keep holding on to the things that you don't deserve. Hello? Y'all get that one? You will never get what your life deserves if you keep holding on to the things that your life doesn't deserve. Okay? And I've always said this. You deserve exactly what you settle for. And what you settle for, that is completely on you. So the second A is, I'm losing my train of thought right now. The second is exception, right? Accepting it. And once you accept it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt anymore, but it just frees you. You say, okay, this is done. This is over. And I will say this is like some kind of deep stuff, but subconsciously, a lot of times we can't move forward because subconsciously we're tied to a time that brought so much joy. And so subconsciously we hold on to the thing that brought us so much joy in that moment, right? So maybe a person came into your life and they gave you everything that you wanted. They made you feel beautiful, handsome. They made you feel incredible. They made you feel like you had a worth, all these things. And you still hold on to that. You're still hoping that it will go back to that if it went south and sour. And maybe it can be. But you're still holding on to that. Maybe it's a sport, right? You're still holding on to that moment that it gave you, that it made you feel like a somebody. It gave you something. And you have to understand that that is no longer what it is, right? What it was isn't what it is. We can't ignore the reality based upon what it gave us in our past, right? Things change. Things transform. Things move, right? Nothing stays the same, to the great Drake poet. Nothing stays the same. Okay, so number 2 is acceptance. And I'm being very short with this. Podcast will go in deeper. The third thing is that I think is very, very important is affiliation. And what I mean by this is, from an emotional standpoint, is how you're affiliating, like what you're attaching different things to. And so remember I talked about subconsciously, right? If we're not clear with the definitions of what it really is and the truth about what it really is in the present, then we can have the wrong affiliations. So some of us, we're tying a painful situation to a pleasure moment that's in the past. And that's why we can't move forward or break that habit. You know, the mistake that a lot of people make, and I see it all the time, is like, Trent, I'm trying to get over this. I'm trying to get over this person. I'm trying to get over this time. And I say, no, you're doing the wrong thing, because if you're trying to get over somebody, then guess what? That means you're focusing on somebody. And what you focus on is what you will feel, period. You know, it's hard to feel something else if you're focusing on this. And so what you have to do, you have to say, instead of trying to get over somebody, it's about getting to know yourself more. It's about healing. It's about going on that journey, because once you realize that you can live your life without it. My life changed with sports and relationships. This is true too. My life changed, right? My healing really begun. And listen, healing is not a destination. It's a journey. Some of us are going to take a lifelong time to heal. But Trent, I still miss this person. I still miss football. I do. But it doesn't mean that I still need to be in football, right? And so I understand that I know how to process my emotions, right? Being emotionally intelligent is very important. But as I was saying, we go on this, healing is a journey. And so many of us, we focus on being healed so much. We're like, oh, I'm not healed. I'm not healed. Oh, I'm not over this person because I'm not healed. I'm not healed. And you don't realize it's a journey. It's about healing. It's about showing yourself that you can survive, not even survive, that's the wrong word to use, that you can thrive, that you can take your life to the next level without that situation. Because once you show yourself that it's possible, right, to still live, that it's possible to still move forward, that it's possible to still take your life to the next level, that it's possible to still become greater, that it's possible, and you're showing yourself that, it builds confidence. And the thing, listen to me, the thing that had so much power over you, you know what happens? It starts to become powerless. The thing that had so much control over you starts to lose control, little by little. How many of you in here have been in a situation in your life, it could be relationships, it could be anything, that you feel like you're addicted to something, or you feel like someone's had so much power over you, and now you don't even think about it anymore. You know, I remember my high school relationship. I thought when that was over, my life was done. I was like, man, like, oh, this sucks, man. I'm never gonna like move on in my life ever. Like, I thought we were gonna get married, and it didn't happen. And now, just no disrespecting, I don't even think about that person at all. That person has no type of emotional response in me at all. What happened? I moved on with my life. And as you move on with your life, they say time heals wounds, and it's true. But you have to do the work as you're healing, right? Do the necessary work, like understanding what your worth is, like understanding who you are, understanding the standards and the values that you need to live by, understanding your principles, reminding yourself that you're incredible regardless, because some of us probably forgot because we allowed external things, person, position, job, to define us so much that we forgot who we are. And without those things, we don't even know who we are. You got to remind yourself who you are. You got to remember who you were before that situation, before that time. Create who you are if that's the case. Because one thing is true about life. We're going to experience losses. We're going to experience setbacks. We're going to experience failures, all of those things. But those things do not have to define us. Those things can really refine our lives instead of defining our lives. And so that's a short version of how to move on, right? It's about, number one, it's about awareness, right? It's about knowing that you're in a sucky situation. I'll just put it like that. Number two is about acceptance. You know, you will never move on by being in denial. You can never heal your life by being in denial, right? You can sweep it under the rug all you want. If you never face your reality, guess what? Your reality will continue to control you. That's the first step in the rehab process. A lot of you know, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, but it's 3 R's. Number one is reality. And so many of us, we run from our war, right? We run from our battles expecting to win the war. We can't do that. You got to face the truth. You have to. It's just a part of life. Like, you can't get to the other side if you don't face it. And the third A is affiliation, right? It's changing what you affiliate. So this is a trick that I did in my past and that I share with people. If you're in a toxic situation, all right, something that's bad, like really, really bad. And I want to be clear. I don't want to tell you to quit on things because of, you know, it's not perfect. Like, that's whack, right? You're going to have ups and downs. Things are not going to go right, you know, and I think it's beautiful when people can work through their problems, when people can put their self aside and really focus on each other, and whether it's friendships or relationships, and build something beautiful from it, you know? So you're going to go through hard times in anything that you do. So I don't want y'all to take from this message, oh, it's not perfect, so I need to run. That's whack, right? That's a person that doesn't want to face any adversity. And that's not a mindset that I would ever preach to you to have, right? Adversity is a part of it. But also, too, it's about being understanding, right? You know what's real. I don't know your situation. So with people that are in bad situations, right? I'm talking about abusive, toxic situations, or maybe affiliation with friends and they're bad for you, or maybe it's a job that's just tearing your life apart and it's just not good for you. One of the things that you have to do is you have to remind yourself, and some of us don't need a reminder, but you have to remind yourself. So I told a person, it was actually a friendship, and I was coaching this person, and this is something that I did. I said, you know, this is what people are going to do, you know, when they want to use you, or when they want to control you, right? People want to gain your trust, for one, because if they gain your trust, they feel like they have access to your life, right? You can trust them and they can control you. But people will do whatever it takes to keep you there. And so you have to understand, if you're having people in your life that are doing this, they know you. They know exactly what your weaknesses are. They know exactly how to tempt you. They know you. They know you maybe better than you know yourself. And so you have to really change the affiliation. You have to really understand the truth about this. And so what I told this person, I said, hey, like with these friends, like change the name in their phone, right? Their name might have been Robert. Any Roberts in here? I'm not talking bad about you, Robert. But they might have been Robert, right? I said, no, change it to, I'm not going to say what I told them to say. It almost came out. Change it to not a good friend, or whatever it may be. Change it to the pain that they gave you. Change it to liar. Change it to whatever, manipulator. Change it to, I would say something else, but I'm not going to say on here. Change it to whatever. And so every time that phone pops up, or every time they try to hit you up, you're reminded of what they gave you. Can people change? Absolutely, people can change. But I'll tell you this, and I'm a firm believer in giving second chances and people changing. I love that. But people are only going to change when they want to change. You cannot create a change in a person. You can influence it. You can influence it, but you cannot create a change in a person if they're not ready to change for themselves. And so I will say that, and you have to remind yourself of what they gave you. And if somebody's choosing to treat you a certain type of way, please understand this. If somebody is choosing, what is a choice? A choice to me means more than, I'll just say more than twice. If somebody's choosing to treat you a certain type of way over and over and over and over again, people make mistakes. People go through their hard times. I know right now in quarantine, we probably have said some things to people that we care about because our emotions are off, all these things. But if you're consistently doing this to a person over and over and over and over again, that is not a mistake, my friend. That is a choice. And realize that they're choosing to treat you a certain type of way. I don't care if it's your boss at your job. I don't care who it is. If they're choosing to treat you a certain type of way consistently, then guess what? You have a choice to either keep accepting it or not. Nobody can make you keep accepting something. Nobody can break your heart more than once without your permission. Nobody can continue to do you wrong more than once without your permission. And I know it's easier said than done, but you got to ask yourself, like, what's worth it? Do I want to stay in a situation that I know is not good for my life, that's not changing, that there's no progression, there's nobody moving forward, that's not even trying? Like, get what I'm saying? Because I don't want us to throw away stuff over small misunderstandings, because if you throw away something over small misunderstandings, it just shows you that that thing wasn't powerful in the first place. But when you're moving on, these are the steps that you have to take. Because, and I'll tell you this, if you keep putting your hand back on the hot stove, and guess what? You're going to get burnt again. And if you keep picking the wound, like, I think I'll see my finger. I smashed my finger, by the way. So if I keep messing with this, right, it's not going to heal. It's not if I keep messing with it. And that's what happens for a lot of us, that we start over so much that we're trying to heal, and then we allow whatever to bring us back, whatever it may be, loneliness to guide us back, insecurities to guide us back, the significance to guide us back, and the situations that we know for a fact aren't good for our lives. We know the environment isn't good for our lives. Then we go back, and then guess what? The wound's ripped off, and now guess what? Or the scar's ripped off, and now the wound is fresh. And now we have to go on this healing process again. And so if you want to move on with your life, okay, you have to understand that it's going to take you changing the association. It's going to take you really understanding what is real. It's going to take you on a journey where you cannot let your feelings be more important than the facts, right? Your feelings are going to tell you that you miss this person, or you miss that, or I wish I had this, or my life is incomplete without, and all this stuff. Even though like you're healing, man, it's a quote that I used to say. I can't think of it on top of my head, but it's man, when you're, I'm not even gonna try to say it because I can't think about it, but I'll post it later on. But it's something about when your healing becomes more important than the pain, or more important than the loneliness, then I'm butchering the quote, by the way. So I'm gonna stop right there, but I'll post it later on. Maybe some of you seen my quote that talks about that. But when you really understand, like, what you want, and you understand the facts about your life, like I always say, facts over feelings. Like, write down the facts. Like, that is my roadmap. My facts are my roadmap. My principles are my roadmap. Like, I'm not that mentally strong to be able to, just think that I can overcome my feelings. No, feelings are real, but feelings aren't always right. And so I'm always thinking about the facts. I'm fact checking. Like, I remember, okay, now this is why I'm not around this person. This is why I don't do this no more. Or this is why, football, when I miss sports, this is why, this is better for my life. And so it's a part of it. It's a process, and healing is a lifelong process. So don't think just because you're not over it. We focus too much on being over it. Just because you're not over it, just because you miss a person, doesn't mean you're not healing. Okay? The goal is to have that connection lose power, right? Have that connection become less powerful in your life until it becomes powerless, and you're actually freed. But when you focus on what your life is, like for me, I use leverage. I ask myself, do I want to die unhappy? Do I want to die unfulfilled? Do I want to live the rest of my life when I get to 90 years old looking back that I stayed in a situation that was terrible for me because I was afraid to whatever? Absolutely not. And so what you choose to stay in is what you deserve. And I know everybody's situation is different, so please don't take that out of context. Please don't do anything, because I don't have to live with the decisions that you make. This is just me sharing. So take what you need, leave what you don't. But I just want to be honest with you, man. Whatever it is in life, football, sports, relationships, friendships, moving on is a journey. And I think if you understand those three things, by being aware, by acceptance, and then by affiliation, of understanding, like, okay, this is actually bad. Like, even though this person is a good person, they're not good for me. This is actually not good for my life. And when you have those truths, it makes it a lot easier to move forward. Peace out. Let's get it.